What's up, girlies? Welcome back to the It Takes Grit podcast. All right. Now, the title might confuse you. We are not just embracing the burn of our workouts today. No, we are turning our challenges into triumphs and embracing that little bit of burn feeling, right? Sometimes when we're going through a challenge, I don't know if about you, but for me, I get this like hot sensation through my body when I feel like stressed. And that is just a sign that I need to slow down. So welcome back to the It Takes Grit podcast. My name is Rebecca Louise. I have an incredible fitness app called Burn by Rebecca Louise, where we use the burn method to help you get amazing results. We talk about 20% fitness, 80% nutrition, and 100% mindset, which is why I love doing this podcast, because if you can transform your mindset and the way that you think, getting results when it comes to fitness and nutrition is going to be a lot easier, because the mindset part is the biggest impact to helping you get results. But what I want to talk about today is we all have challenges, right? Don't think that your challenge is harder than somebody else's or you're in a worse situation than somebody else. Like, there's always going to be somebody throughout history. Remember, we were just chatting this morning about different things when people were going through history and all the wars that went on and what people experienced. We have to sometimes remember that, because it puts life into perspective a little bit, especially, the generation right now thinking that life is really tough. Imagine being an evacuee in World War II, right? I had got to spend some time with my family, and we spoke about grandparents who, at 5, 6, 7 years old were being sent out away from their families to be evacuees in houses and in families that they really didn't want these kids. And so I think so often we get so in our head about challenges and things that we're going through, but let's just remember, there's always going to be somebody in life that is going through something worse. And there's always going to be somebody that is going through something a little bit easier than you. But never make it so absolute that your challenge is going to define your life. So we're going to turn those challenges that you have today into triumphs, as long as you are open to it. Because the biggest thing when it comes to growth and finding your grit and resilience is always being open to a new way of thinking, and never thinking that the way that you think is absolute, is the only way that it can be. It's always having that open mind. So let's just start off, first of all, talking about reframing obstacles, right? Because like I said, we make a challenge so absolute, right? We make it seem like this is absolutely definitive, this is going to change the course of our life, and nothing is ever going to be the same again. Well, if you make it absolute and you make it that life will never be the same, well, your language does become your experience, and therefore that obstacle is literally going to derail you in a negative way. So how can we reframe obstacles and change perspectives, and actually help the change of perspective reveal hidden opportunities, right? Because I believe that as long as you do the right thing for the right reason, whatever happens in your life, there's always going to be something that's going to be great that comes through these challenges. So we have to reframe these obstacles that happen. Otherwise, they can either send you one way, which could lead you down a very negative path, or it could lead you another way, and you could actually utilize those obstacles and those challenges for really great hidden opportunities and growth, as long as you look at it like that. And for me personally, anytime that I've been through a challenge in my life, I have had to, for my own sanity, and I recommend that you do this too, is that for your own sanity, you really look at the obstacles that you're facing and you think, how can I make something great from this? How can I reframe the obstacle that I'm currently facing so that I get something great from it? And two people can face a very similar experience, and one of them can utilize it for good, and another one can utilize it to allow their life to change in a negative way because it becomes a story of lacking of confidence or a lack of inability to do something. And so it doesn't matter what you go through, it's all about how you react to that and how you reframe those obstacles. So that's number one, really. How do you turn those challenges into triumphs? Is you've got to reframe what that obstacle means and how it's going to affect you in the long term, and changing the perspective to always thinking like, what could be revealed here? What is something that could be revealed? Is there a hidden opportunity that I'm missing right now because I'm so focused on all the things that aren't going right and all the things that are challenging about what I'm currently going through? And we have to, if we want to lighten up a little bit and we want to change them into triumphs, we have to start looking at things differently. And with that comes mental resilience, right? How do we build mental resilience? Well, turning challenges into triumphs is going to really be a massive factor of that. If you can learn the skill set, now it's not going to come easy. There's going to be times where you feel like, oh my gosh, like how do I ever make this challenge into something positive? How can I ever, have this this thing that's just, happened to me or for me? How can I make this into something that's going to be great? But how do we build that mental resilience? Well, first of all, mini goals, right? Mini little wins. The illusion that you have to have something really big to happen to make you happy or to make you feel successful, or that is what's going to give you the momentum to get the life that you want, is actually false. It's the mini goals that accumulate, that actually build the confidence so that you feel like you've had this big win and success. So you build mental resilience, one, by setting mini goals, right? So whether that's you're going through a challenge right now and you just have that mini goal of going, you know what, I know I'm going through a challenge, but let me just remember that there's always somebody who's going through something worse than me. That could be a mini goal. Just being able to reword your language and to have it at least a little bit positive. Doesn't mean to say oh, that day I don't have any more challenges and it's all gone and I feel amazing. No, you could just start to think, well, you know what? This could be a lot worse. We could have gone through this and we couldn't have done this. So first of all, to build that mental resilience, work on mini goals. They are going to accumulate to build more confidence. And then mindfulness, right? Our language, I've told you this so many times before, but I'm going to keep saying it because your language becomes your experience. Oftentimes I'll see people comment like, oh, well, I'd never do that, and I can't do this, and this isn't going to work for me, and I don't even like that. And you're not being mindful of how you are speaking. And when you're not mindful of the words that you are projecting, what happens is that you start to build up more negativity inside of your body. And the biggest cause of any stress, the biggest cause of your body feeling tired, and any cause of, your body kind of just feeling like it's breaking down is actually negative words towards yourself. So if you could be mindful of how you are speaking to yourself, how you're treating yourself, are you treating yourself with healthy food and water, or are you abusing yourself with alcohol and sugary foods that are not going to allow you the mindset that you need to be able to get through a challenge, right? So be mindful, and then having that positive inner dialogue with yourself. And like I said, this isn't an overnight cure. This takes years of practice, so that at the beginning, you might feel less than, or you might be saying negative things to yourself for maybe a month, maybe 6 months, right? But as you start to build more mental resilience by adding in mini goals and being mindful, that positive reaction starts to become 1 month. and then 2 months and 2 weeks, and then it becomes 1 week, and then it becomes 1 day, and then it becomes 12 hours, and then it becomes 1 hour, then it becomes 30 minutes, and then it becomes 1 minute. And before you know it, because you've kept building that mental resilience, that positive inner dialogue with yourself is going to be a lot quicker than what it originally was. But you can't expect it to just change overnight. But what you can do is be aware of, are you getting better? Are you being mindful with your words? And are you having a positive inner dialogue with yourself? Now, let's talk about a couple of actionable steps for actually overcoming those challenges. This is one of the biggest things that I want you to remember from today's podcast, is how can you be focused on the solution rather than the problem? Because all successful people is they just put out fires and they find the solution. We don't even spend any time on the problem. It's about how quickly can we look at a solution, or how quickly can we look at something and find a solution. And that's what's going to help you, your very, very first step when it comes to overcoming challenges. And you're like, okay, what is the first thing? Great. What can be the solution right now? So whatever challenge you're going through right now, maybe the first solution is you having gratitude. Okay, let me think about gratitude. Maybe the second solution is that, hey, I need to go and change my physiological state. I need to change my body. I need to get out of this this negative feeling in my body right now. Maybe your shoulders are down, your head's down. You need to change your physiological state. That could be a quick solution. Rather than, oh, well, I feel really tired and now I'm not going to do anything and the life is so challenging and it's so hard. Instead of having that, switch it so that you can start to look for a solution. And like we said at the beginning, building that mental resilience comes from small mini goals. So find a small solution and then stack. Add a little bit more of a solution, add something else to that challenge so that you start to overcome it in mini little goals. You don't need to figure it all out right at the beginning, but just breaking it down into small mini goals is going to build momentum, it's going to build confidence, and you're going to be focused, which is the most important part, on the solution rather than the problem. Because remember, what we focus on, where focus goes, energy flows. And so the more time that you focus on that solution, the less time you have focusing on the problem, and therefore you're going to overcome that challenge. I want to talk too about the really, really important part of having the role of your support system, okay? Because no matter what you're going through, if you don't have a great support system that is there to encourage you, to lift you up, be positive. What you don't want to do is, when you're going through something challenging, is to kind of bitch, moan, and complain with somebody else that's just going to allow you to kind of sit in that misery. You do want a good friend is going to be someone that's going to say, hey, like, let's look at all the positives from this. Like, let's look at what is good. Because if you're surrounding yourself with friends who are allowing you to kind of like wallow in your misery and just kind of like, reinforce old stories, it's going to keep you stuck. It's going to keep you in that mindset, and you're not going to be able to break through and build more mental resilience. And it's going to be almost impossible to turn those challenges into triumphs, because you've constantly got somebody who is just keep on reinforcing the challenge that you're going through and the challenges that you're facing. And oh my gosh, how difficult this is and how unfair this is. And so instead of trying to find the solution and making a situation better, you're surrounded by people who are kind of allowing you to play that victim. So don't allow that. Don't allow yourself. I know it might feel good, right? We get a lot of significance when we're like, oh, poor me, I've been through this really challenging time. And then you get more people giving you attention. And then what happens is that you just keep doing that because it makes you feel good, but not really. Makes you feel good on the surface because people are giving you attention. But deep down, it doesn't make you feel good. Because if you're negative to yourself, or you reiterate, stories of challenges and negativity, it really brings your energy down. And when our energy is down, we don't make great decisions. Great things don't happen. We don't really make much progress. We don't celebrate small wins. We don't build mental resilience. And so instead of thinking, oh, it'd be great just to hang around a friend so that I can bitch and complain and moan, think about that support system, the people that are actually going to call you out, like myself, right? Call you out on the BS and make sure that you are putting things into progress that are going to help you make those challenges part of a great story of triumph. And we really want to celebrate all wins, right? No matter how small they are, because they build confidence. And never think that the win that you have is too big or too small. If you have a win, you want to celebrate that, because what it's going to do, it's going to stack and it's going to add more confidence. The more confidence that you have, the better that you're going to feel, the more energy that you're going to have, the brighter your day is going to feel. And if you don't celebrate those wins because you're being so hard on yourself, then you're literally just beating yourself up every single day. And that is not going to help you overcome those challenges into triumph. So let's do a little bit of homework as we finish up for today. I want you to think about what is your biggest challenge right now, right? Now, there might be loads of things going on, right? We've all got things going on in our lives. You might have a challenge here, you might be challenging here, but what is the one biggest challenge that you'd like to focus on right now? And then just think, what's the first thing that you could do right now that would just make it a little bit better? What's the first thing? Maybe it's you know what? Gosh, I could just be a little bit more grateful. Or, you know what? Maybe I just need to get outside and have a little bit more fresh air. Or maybe it's I just needed to realize that I'm going down a vortex. And sometimes that happens, right? When you're in a challenge, you get so fixated on it and you go down this crazy vortex plan. And what that does is it starts to really play with your mind and you get so stuck in it that you feel like you can't pull yourself out. Maybe it's just recognizing right now that you got yourself into a vortex, and a good point to make right now is being aware of that and saying, what's the first step I could do to pull myself out of it? So that's our homework for today, is think about what your number one challenge is and what is the first step that you can take to help you overcome it. Well done for showing up today. Half the battle is just showing up and listening to these episodes. The second part of it is to put into action what I'm sharing with you today, because it will help you transform your life, help you be more positive, and live a more fulfilling life. All right, I will see you on next week's episode of It Takes Grit.